In today's episode, I'm going to show you around my dad's village. I'll be staying here where he grew up on the family compound. And even though I was 5,000 miles away from where I was born in Newcastle, I could not feel more at home the entire time I was here. Life in the village is not quite what you're used to seeing in the UK, but in this two-part episode, I'm going to give you an insight into the local village life. I'll show you the school my dad had built, the village market where I met some people who knew me dad, and how we all chill on the night time at the family compound. The first thing I did when I got to the village was have a nice feast with my family and a good catch up. The food tasted amazing as well because I didn't eat much on the plane on the way over, and I didn't really have much of an appetite during quarantine in Dhaka either. Talk about a nice homemade meal, oh aye. Once I was fed and settled for that night, I got the chance to meet my new pet monkey Pablo, who many of you have seen on me stories and blogs. It didn't take long before I gained his trust and he fell asleep on my chest, little cutie. The next morning I woke up feeling slightly groggy, but I got up and checked out the family compound.
Boys, so that's the main gate. That's one of the fish farms there. Right, so that's like our family compound here. This is all our family compound here.
You can't deny the feeling of being off the grid out here. The scenery around is beautiful, there's so many farm animals, and generally it's just such a relaxed environment.
This is one of the fish farms I was telling you about last night, right at the side of the land. Look.
Even on this cloudy day, I just felt so much peace being here. There was no city vibes out here, no busy roads, cars, noise, just green land all around you and silence. In the recent years, unfortunately, my auntie's health hasn't been too good, so that's why she hasn't been able to tend to these vegetable patches. Out here at the back of the compound, you'll find the fish farms where you may often find us sitting doing a light spot of fishing when the weather's good with a rod and a line. It's really relaxing, especially around late afternoon, early evening when the temperature starts to cool down. But anyways, quickly check out these lemon trees.
That smells like the freshest lemon you've ever smelt in your life.
What? Madness. Coconut trees. Yeah, would they are without a supermarket here, wouldn't we?
Then I took a quick walk up onto the roof of one of the family homes on the compound so I'd get a better look at the surrounding scenery and environment. It's hard to understand without being there how far away you feel from the stresses of the world when you're in a place like this. This here is the courtyard where we sometimes spend time playing badminton or chilling in the sun, and it separates all the houses on our family compound.
And that's Allen compound.
Trust me when I say it, life is so much simpler out here in the village.
There's a family that just lives in that house there. Like, imagine that, just living there. Imagine that was your house.
After I had some breakfast, tea and got freshened up, we decided to take a walk around the village so I could meet some of the neighbours, relatives, locals, and generally just check out the place. It had been so long since I had been here, 15 years in fact to be precise. This is one of our auntie and uncle's house, about 50 metres away from the compound, and they've got family in the UK as well. Some of my younger cousins are playing badminton here and I'd often go along to play with them. One of the great things about being in the village is that everywhere you go, you bump into someone that you know. It could be a family member, distant relative, friend, neighbour, or even just one of the locals. The sense of community spirit in the village is brilliant because everyone knows each other, they're all friendly with each other, and they all got time for each other as well. Whereas in the UK, you tend to find that if you see someone in the street, you may wave or say hello to them, but that's about it. You'll continue walking on your own way.
Standard life, yeah.
When you compare how advanced the UK is compared to Bangladesh, I can't help but wonder to myself how long ago England would have been similar to this village. 100, 150 years ago?
All them sons came, they all flocked to come say hello, they want to give you tea. Do you know what I mean? Like talk to you, say hello and that. It means a lot to them. It may not be much to us or me personally, obviously, but to them it's like someone's come all the way back from Britain to see with, do you know what I mean? To come back to his homeland, like, and obviously their memories of with my dad, it must be nice for them to see me almost. It's just like reliving my memory of my dad for them. Like little youngins like this, everyone just wants to walk along with you. Malasini. Come on down, Shahid. His name's Shahid. Go. Blake. They call his dad Saku, which means chopper. They say this little part of the path here was like all like it's like fucking just like a state of a jungle. They say it was, and you couldn't even walk through it. It was quite dangerous to walk through this part back in the day. Must have made paths and that now. Chopped all the trees down and whatnot. There wasn't actually any danger, but it was just one of those places where they were just, must have been like a little local myth, the boogeyman's.
Once we passed through that little clearing in the wooded area, we got to Grandad's grave, and this is only the second time in my life that I've ever been here, so it was quite a bit of an emotional moment for us. However, I was grateful to be here, and we all read prayers over my Grandad's grave, wishing him the best.
I actually met my Grandad, whose grave this is, that was my dad's dad. I always did want to see all my grandparents at one time, like that was never going to happen. Obviously two of my grandparents lived here, one of them's passed away over here. I've got one grandma left. But I thought the least I can do is, the closest I'll come to seeing them all at one time is I'm going to go and visit all the graves and then go and see my grandma, who's still alive here. So before I came here, I actually went to my grandma's grave, sat for like 15-20 minutes, talked to her about life and whatnot, kind of collected my thoughts a bit, and here I am now with my grandad. So I visited both my grandma and my grandad.
1 month after this video, I went to my mum's village where I visited my other granddad's grave.
Kids hanging about on the street corners happens in every country.
We continued walking through the village, and you can see the condition of some of the houses here. It would be extremely difficult for us British to adapt to, but these villagers don't know any different because they were born into that lifestyle. A little bit further ahead is the local village market.
Did you ever think you were going to see some place like this? 5,000 miles from home, deep in Bangladesh, in the villages.
Now, this is the entrance to the local village market. It's not like anything you'd get in the UK. It's very small, it's very worn down, a lot of shabby buildings, small businesses. It's in this market that you would do your food shopping, so you would buy all your meat, you'd get live chickens, and you'd get all your fish, you'd get all your spices, fresh fruit and vegetable, water, things like that. There'll be a couple of small shabby restaurants serving the villagers local traditional food, and maybe a couple of pharmacies. I had to take a second look when I seen this Caucasian looking man, but it turned out he's an albino and has a skin condition. Some things in life you just never forget, and as soon as I entered the market, I recognised where some of the businesses were straight away from the last time I came. Straight away I was keen to have a little walk around and just catch up with the vibes, because it'd been 15 years since I'd been here, and as many markets as I've been to in Bangladesh, this was the first one I'd been to in such a long time. This lad was asking us if I wanted a coffee, saying he had a very good coffee machine there. Unfortunately, I don't drink coffee. I'm more of a tea drinker. Which one are you?
Look, man, everyone just stares at you. But it's not a disrespectful thing. They've just never seen any. They just don't see people from England very often. They wonder whose son is it, which family is it they've came from. Is it someone we know? Do you know what I mean? For them, it's like almost like an honour to see or speak or sit and talk with someone who's from Britain, and even more so if you actually know them or if you know the family. Sure. So this gentleman here saying he knew me dad, and he obviously knows me dad's older brother, his dad. What else on you?
As you can see, it's your typical third world village market. Little stalls, little shabby huts, worn down shops, small businesses. Then just past the market is one of the local village schools.
Over the years and that, like solar panels, and contributed towards the construction of some of this. I remember last time I came here, the headmaster, he sat us down at he let me sit on his chair, and like it was a respect thing, because obviously my dad's contributed towards this establishment here and to the school, so it's a nice thing, that, you know what I mean? They're trying to give the kids an education. Do you know when people are kicking off back home saying, these foreigners sending money back home and that? Well, look, this is what my dad was doing. He struggled to pay his bills over the years, kept his family the best he could, and whatever, any spare money he had, he would send back for things like this. So the little kids like these can get an education. Look at this one's just tagging along. And like, contributing towards mosques somewhere where the poor people, so they can have a little faith, go and pray. Do you know what I mean? These are the things that some people are actually doing with the money when they're sending it back home. We're not all funding fucking terrorism. So that's the infant side over there. And obviously as the older you get, you progress around to this side.
After a few hours of venturing around the village and the local market, I went home and chilled out with Pablo.
Going back to the Bangla goal, the fucking chill pad. I'm just waiting for my scran getting sorted. And then we'll come back in here for a frisk tonight. You should have seen before, man. He's just kicked him up. Just talking about spiders. He says, do you not get the sprays in England where you can just kill the spiders? I was like, no. People just beat them all over. I mean, me personally, I just try and catch them in a cup and a bit of paper and let them go. My mark kicks off if you kill animals, anything. She's one of them animal lovers. Fits him nicely. Cushy.
There he is, little monkey Pablo. It's funny looking back on how small he was here. He was just the cutest little thing. I mean, he still is now, but he was tiny here.
So this is just to give off a nice smell. Like we use air freshener back home. Over here they do this. You think you do about that? Ooh, the smell coming off that already. They use the leaves of this. Don't know if anyone recognises what that is, but the smell coming off that is unbelievable.
I later found out they're actually albus leaves.
So I didn't really get a chance to do much today because of how late I woke up. By the time I left Newcastle and got here, it took over 7 days. And that includes travelling to London, staying there, going to the embassies and the clinic for my visa and my test result, the travelling itself, the quarantining in the hotel in Dhaka, and then actually journeying here from the capital city to the village out in the sticks. And obviously when I got here last night, all the religious seminars and that going on over the megaphones and having Pablo, I didn't get to sleep till 9 o'clock. I woke up fairly late, missed my Friday prayers and whatnot. And no one really wanted to wake us up because they wanted to let us rest up. So hopefully tomorrow I'm going to wake up a bit earlier. I've got a couple of things planned. I think I'm going to go fishing and whatnot tomorrow. So I don't know how you feel about being stuck in the house on lockdown. There's something really quite refreshing about just taking a wander through the village. And now it's pitch black, but I've got like my uncles, my nephew, my cousins, some of the men were here with us. So now I'm safe. It's just more the fact that there's complete silence. You can't hear a thing going on. It's just the sound of nature. Yeah, like the animals and whatnot. There's no cars, nothing. There's not a soul in sight. It almost feels like I'm just walking around an empty planet.
And that is all for part 1 of Life in My Dad's Village. Be sure to check out part 2.